Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Alrighty, Jets fans, how are we doing tonight? Jets lose 4-1 against the Blue Jackets in a pretty rough game, pretty tough one to watch. I'm glad that's how I spent my Friday night. I don't know about you guys. But yeah, that was a tough game. We'll talk about it. We'll turn to Winnipeg. Of course, he's played here before, but it was pretty rough game from the Jets. We'll break that down. We'll talk about the changes in lineup. We'll talk about a bunch of things. I'll be honest, I did not see that game. Is my mic working? I don't know what's going on. We'll take a look and see how that game went. We'll break it down for you guys. That's not how I expected the game to go. Make your bet with Sports Interaction. Whether it's World Cup, hockey, football, or basketball, Sports Interaction has you covered. Bet pregame, live in play, or on one of our many prop bets. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all that sports betting has to offer. Want to bet? Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Boy, where? I don't know what's going on, everyone. I'm sorry. My mic seems to be cutting out. But as I was saying, Jets lose 4-1 to the Columbus Blue Jackets, a team they probably shouldn't be losing to, considering one, Jets are one of the top teams in the league, fighting for top of the Central. The other night, I can see people mentioning my audio in the chat. Sorry about it, guys. But yeah, the Jets shouldn't lose this game. You know, the Columbus Blue Jackets are at the bottom of the league. They currently have how many? I don't even know how many people they have on IR. They've got Adam Boqvist on IR, Zach Werenski, Jakob Voracek. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Jake Bean, Nick Blankenberg, Justin Danforth. They have a lot of players on IR. And just to start off, the Columbus Blue Jackets, not a great team. This was a tough one to watch, I'll be honest with you. Just to start out, to set the scene, actually Janssen Fjallby ends up getting scratched for this one. Sam Gagner draws in after being scratched, I believe it was for 2 games, and he started the game on the third line, but after about 10 minutes into the game, I think rightfully so, Rick Bowness ended up dropping Morgan Barron off of the second line and onto the third, and promoting Sam Gagner back up. Not that I think that Gagner necessarily deserves to be on that top line, or on that second line, top line, second line. They're interchangeable, honestly. But I definitely think that Morgan Barron does not fit on that line. I think he dumps the puck in far too much to be on in the top 6. I think that he had a pretty abysmal game for the first 10 minutes. After that, he looked much better once he was on the third line with Lowry and Metalainen. I think he fits a lot better with those guys rather than the fast offensive stylings of Pierre-Luc Dubois and Kyle Connor. Yeah, other than that, looking at the game, Rick Bowness makes the right decision and puts in David Riddick against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Again, this is a game that your backup should be starting. And I'll be honest with you, I am not at all pinning this game on Dave Riddick. I think that this game was a culmination of a lot of the issues the Jets have been facing for a while now, but have been kind of covered up by their success. The fact that Connor Hellebuck's been incredible for them. As well as, they're getting a lot of scoring. Tonight, the goals just wouldn't go in. Korpisalo played pretty well, but I also think that the Jets didn't create as much, chaos in front as they would have hoped to. But again, eventually they do score in the third period. We'll dive into the game and kind of go through beat by beat here. But of course, make sure you guys are in the comments chatting it up here, because it's just me here. Have your voice heard. I'll try to read and talk at the same time. I think my mic cuts out when I stop talking, so I'll try and keep it rolling. But yeah, starting off the game, it didn't look too bad. Honestly, the right at the start of the game, minute in, Perfetti, Wheeler, and Scheifele looked good at the start. I think they had a pretty rough game after that. They just couldn't really create anything. Honestly, the whole Jets team as a whole really couldn't connect their passing. I think their passing was atrocious today. There's a lot of bobbled pucks, a lot of missed passing. I think that could have been one of the biggest issues, I would say. Right off the top of the game, the Jets get a power play real quick. I think they looked pretty good. Going back to last game, I was pretty. I was praising the changes that the Jets had made on their power play, switching Wheeler to being on his strong side and then having Kyle Connor on the opposite side on his strong side as well, and then putting Mark Scheifele in the middle for that bumper slot. And boy, oh boy, I think that is regardless of the players on left and right, Mark Scheifele needs to be in the middle of the ice. That guy has such a quick release, and when he can be kind of left to kind of, sit in the weeds and hide out there, waiting for, Kyle Connor to draw guys to him, waiting for Blake Wheelers to draw guys to him, Josh Morrissey, guys to him, Pierre-Luc Dubois down low, guys to him. If Mark Scheifele's just waiting in the weeds there, we saw it tonight that, he got it more than a few really nice quick chances off that, just a quick little pass into the middle. And that is where I think long term that will provide the Jets with much more power play success. Unfortunately, they only went 1 for 5 tonight, which, you would hope in a game like this that, you would hope that you can kind of lean on your special teams to be able to get it done for you. Unfortunately, like I said, Korpisalo played great. I think we have to give, credit to him. He did have a great game, but I also do think that the Jets didn't have incredibly dangerous shots. I mean, one of the things that is good about having that power play setup is you have Blake Wheeler, who's actually shooting again. Like it's, I don't want him to be the only guy shooting on that power play, but he seems to be the guy who has the puck very frequently. And it's very good to see that he's shooting a lot more. Hopefully teams take notice of that. And that's how that second really nice, quick chance in the middle for Scheifele was created, is because teams have to start giving a bit more respect to Blake Wheeler and the fact that he can shoot the puck, and he will shoot the puck now. We have Emily Reinhardt in the chat going, as a Jackets fan, I would like to thank the Jets for one of the few games this year that didn't hurt to watch as a Jackets fan. Well, thanks, man. It wasn't that fun for us. But I will admit, I am personally, I'm a Patrick Laine fan. One of the jerseys I have, actually two of the jerseys I have back here are Laine jerseys. They're just, you can't really see them. The Aviator one here behind me, as well as this Heritage Classic one up here. But I was kind of hoping at the end of the game, if all was lost, that maybe Laine would be able to get his hat trick goal on the empty net, but he hit the post a couple times. Again, we'll get all into that, but just kind of looking, through the game. Hello. I don't know what's causing my mic to cut out every now and then. We'll figure it out for next stream. Sorry. Oh, hello. Going to the this is throwing me off. Going to the first goal. This was just a good goal by the Blue Jackets. PLD's line gets kind of hemmed in, and it's just a really nice pass from Gaudreau. Sees Laine across the ice, kind of sitting there alone. Kyle Connor should have picked him up. Unfortunately, that was his man in the zone, and unfortunately today we saw him kind of reaching back, just trying to make a little, little blind man stick to try and get his stick in the way there. But unfortunately, Patrick Laine is not going to miss when he gets it that close, as we'll see later as well too. But honestly, that's just a defensive breakdown from the Jets, unfortunately. And this is my biggest criticism. Going back to what I was saying that tonight was a kind of culmination of all the things that the Jets have been kind of just patching up as their boat slowly fills with water. The defensive side of things needs to shape up for the Jets. Absolutely. They've been kind of just flying by the seat of their pants with Connor Hellebuyck bailing them out in behind. And without Connor Hellebuyck there making insane saves that, you know, you can't fault Dave Riddick on almost any of those goals, because like he was just hung out to dry. There's how many of those goals were just created off of tic-tac-toe plays in the Jets zone, and the Jets are allowing way too much in front of their goalie. This was one of my biggest criticisms about the Chicago game. I wasn't on that episode of Game Over, but if you saw me on Twitter, you know, spewing my garbage, I had a tweet that was just kind of like whispers. The Jets actually kind of got outplayed at 5v5 against the Blackhawks, just in the sense of creating offense. The Jets unfortunately allowed the Blackhawks to create more offense, but of course the difference is Peter Mrazek was in net for the Blackhawks, and Connor Hellebuck's in net for the Jets. So looking at this game here, a lot of the goals, as we'll get into more and more, were just tic-tac-toe plays that no one is covering their right man. Like it was very frustrating to watch. The second goal was just kind of a bit of a fluke accident. What's his name? Eric Goodbranson, comes into the zone, takes a weird shot. It goes off of, Dave Riddick makes the initial save and bounces out and then goes in off of PLD. Like that, again, is a goal where it's tough. Like, cause maybe Dave Riddick could have absorbed that rebound a little better, but at the same time, when it comes in off of one of your own players, like that's not an issue. Like that's not because you played that incorrectly. It's just a bad bounce, and that's how bounces were. That's how bounces are in hockey. It just is like that, unfortunately. But moving forward from there, we get to the first brutal call of the game, and that's the delay of game penalty on Jansen Harkins. I don't understand how the refs got this wrong. Initially, there was no call. They did not call it a penalty. Then the refs all come together for their huddle, and they just, through discussion, one of the refs must go, I think that went out. We should call it just to be safe. And, the replay shows immediately that puck so very clearly, so very obviously went off the boards and out. Like, I don't even need to explain this. If you watched the game, you saw it. Like, the thing that's mind-boggling to me is the fact that, there's such a long stoppage in play here. The replay is being played on the Jumbotron just above the refs. None of them can just look up and take a look and figure out what's going on here and what the actual reality is. And then moving forward, then Rick Bowness has a conversation with them. And this is, an even longer delay that we're just sitting here waiting, knowing that the call is incorrect. The refs can literally just look up and see as they're playing the replay 4 or 5 times that, because they've had that much time to play it, that it very clearly was not a delay of game. I don't understand how that was not like called back or anything like that. Kevin Sawyer had this stupid call on the broadcast. Personally, I'll just be honest with you, I'm not a huge Kevin Sawyer fan. I think he kind of just says words and just says things that have no value to the game most of the time. And this is one of the things I wanted to harp on. Sawyer goes on to talk about the fact that, even though they got it wrong, the refs will give a makeup call to the Jets later on in the game. Here's the thing. I get why Kevin Sawyer's saying that. He's got to fill in the time. He's got to say his words. He's got to get his word count in. But at the same time, I just want to challenge that thought in general, because we're at a game right now where it's about halfway through the first period. The Blue Jackets are up 2-0, and then this call happens and it is completely wrong. If in this circumstance the Columbus Blue Jackets went on to score on this power play, like that completely changes the makeup of the game. I mean, either way, probably would have went the same way that we saw it go. It probably would have been the exact same thing. But just because the Jets were able to kill off that penalty doesn't mean that is how things should go. Because regardless, like if the Blue Jackets score on that power play, it just completely sets the tone for the rest of the game. Luckily, that didn't happen until later when the Jets couldn't score for the rest of the period. And and the Blue Jackets kept taking it to the Jets to move on in the first period. Otherwise, though, there was the awful huge the head hit on Sam Gagner from, I think it was what was his name, Bayreuther. I don't know his first name. Brutal, absolutely brutal. That should have been potentially some sort of ejection. He charges him and then also hits him in the head, and they called it boarding for some reason. I don't know what the refs were on tonight, but they were saying some shit. They were on some shit tonight. And then on the power play, just another nitpicky thing, they missed a holding the stick on Mark Scheifele behind the net. Like, his stick was held and then he couldn't play the puck. But I digress. You know, you can only call so many things. But hey, that would have been a perfect time for a makeup call. But nope. Okay, whatever. Fast forward to the second, just trying to see, you know, the Jets started on a bit of a power play, but unfortunately 11 seconds in, Blake Wheeler negates it immediately with a, you know, just one of those annoying little interference while you're trying to stay onside on the blue line. I don't think that he meant to do it, but at the same time, you got to have your head up more. You can't be negating power plays in a game where you're down 2-0 and you're trying to crawl yourself back in it. That's just rough either way. You know, play continues on, play goes back and forth, and then Patrick Laine gets his second of the game. Boy, oh boy, did he show it to the Jets fans tonight, and to the Jets themselves. I couldn't help but notice on the way off the ice in between penalties, or not penalties, in between periods, he was yelling some something fucking bitch, but I digress. I just think it's funny when Patrick Laine does anything, especially have a shaved head and be a goofy guy. I miss him. I will never forgive the Jets for trading him. I understand why it got to that point, but at the same time, as we look at the success that the Jets have had under a coach not named Paul Maurice, maybe you should have not had Paul Maurice earlier on, and maybe you could have kept your really important asset who you drafted second overall. But I digress. Not the point of this stream here. The makeup call was not giving Dubois a penalty for running Bayreuther. I don't think he really ran him. Like, I think he just came in and gave him the business, which happens after any big hit. Like, I do not think that was the makeup call per se. Again, continuing on, and this is where I think the Jets started to kind of actually find their footing. In the second period, they actually got some momentum rolling. I thought that the second line, once they had Gagner on it, actually started playing a lot better tonight. They had a lot of good. They had more than a couple of chances in the second period. There was one where Dubois passed it out to Sam Gagner. This is the only issue I have with Sam Gagner on that line. Not this play in specific, but this is just an example of him on that line where I don't think he really deserves to be. He gets a pass out in front, decides to take a shot, but as he looks up and realizes immediately after, he sees Kyle Connor to his right, waiting completely alone for a pass, and he immediately shoots it, saved by Korpisalo. Camera zooms in right on him, and you can see him saying, "I should have passed it. Sorry, man." Like, I'm glad he recognized it after, but at the same time, in a game like this, you absolutely need to be ready. You need to be constantly knowing where your teammates are, and you need to be ready to pounce when you can. Again, maybe I'm not saying this if the goal goes in on that shot. It was a good shot, and I'm not against him taking it, but again, in just the circumstance of seeing Kyle Connor sitting there wide open was a little frustrating. I can definitely say that. Again, as I said, the momentum keeps coming. The Jets start actually attacking in this game. If you actually look at the expected goals, the deserve to win-o-meter stuff, the Jets were on the heavily favored on the deserve to win side of things, sitting around like 60 something percent, 65 maybe, I think. But yeah, so, but I think that a lot of those chances, though, is that game is kind of created once a team who should be losing goes up 2-0 at the start of a game, and then kind of obviously continues to pounce, but at the same time is definitely playing a lot more conservative and kind of turtling a little bit more. So because the Jets definitely had all game long to be like, we're going to try and pounce and we're trying to score. And, and conversely, the Blue Jackets had all game to be like, we need to just make sure that they don't score on our goalie. Here, we'll read a comment here from David W. Loads of self-inflicted wounds. Did the Jets ins with a new video by Canuck Clay on the Demcountry. I will soon be go to that video to watch it if the Game Over Winnipeg live stream ends. It shouldn't end, at least not for another 10, 15 minutes. But yeah. Hello? Oh, hello. I'm back. Sorry, guys. I will have this figured out for next stream. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I definitely agree. Lots of self-inflicted wounds by the Jets. Again, and then, continuing on, this is when in the second period, the Blue Jackets end up scoring their third goal of the game to make it 3-0. This was the tic-tac-toe play that ended up with I think this was the who scored this goal? I can't remember. Who cares? Doesn't matter. This is the tic-tac-toe play where they had 4 passes as they're coming in. My issue with this one was that Pierre-Luc kind of committed too far to sorry, reading the comments. I think that Pierre-Luc committed too much to playing high in the zone there, and then it goes down deep on the right side of Riddick, and then Boone Jenner ends up crashing the net and getting the tap in goal. Again, nothing Dave Riddick can do on this. This is a complete tic-tac-toe goal where the Jets completely are unable to defend in front. The Jets try to storm back, and again, Korpisalo has a big, huge save on Morgan Barron, and then a quick little shout out to Dave Riddick for a nice save on Johnny Gaudreau on a little breakaway there to end the period. But yeah, tough second period. The Jets are really in one for the third, and we'll see how they come out. And it wasn't great. Starting off, they had an early power play, which ended up having some brutal breakouts. It was a very awkward defensive zone type of thing. The the biggest self-inflicted wound tonight, the Line A trade. I completely agree. But yeah, the positives, again, like I said, Wheeler's shooting a lot on the power play, which I like. Again, the more dynamic your power play is, the better. The more options each player has, the better. And then, they get a couple chances. The play ends up stopping with 48 seconds left. Rick Bowness ends up taking a timeout. And then immediately off of the timeout, the Columbus Blue Jackets win the draw. And then, dump it down, break it out. And then the Jets end up getting no more possession for the entire power play. And then I think they only got possession They only got possession. Oh no, this is later on. This is a different power play. We'll get to that one after. But again, just brutal response from the team. Like if your coach is calling a timeout on a power play, you have to respond. You can't just immediately throw it in his face by just losing the draw and then just allowing the other team to completely negate the power play. I'm just going to bring up a tweet that someone sent me just before the game. It was from Alec Beatty at Alec Vball. I would suggest that Dubois should get more opportunities to take PP faceoffs. Among players that have taken at least 20 PP faceoffs this year, Scheifele is 8th worst in the league at 46.9%, while Dubois is 14th best in the league at 63.6%. Again, I don't think that face-offs are as important of a stat as people make them out to be, but like I said, they are important in very specific instances. And this is one where I look at that and I go, if you're having that timeout, Bonus should be making the time to go, hey, you know what, Doobie, you're taking the face off here. Scheif, get yourself in front of the net. We're going to start this off right. Again, pretty rough response from the Jets, unfortunately, on this power play. Again, there was a couple other chances the Jets had. There was the one where there was a bit of a rebound and went kind of behind the net, and then Lowry kind of just throws it out front and gets a nice little kind of trickles across the line in behind Korpisalo. Luckily, he jumps on. Luckily for the Blue Jackets, that is, Korpisalo jumps onto the puck very quickly, and that was no issue for him. And then again, there's the delay of game penalty from the Blue Jackets, and this one was the one I had the biggest frustration with. Again, I've been saying that the PPs looked better, they've looked more dangerous, but on this one they got literally zero zone possession time on either of the power play units until 15 seconds left in the power play, when neither of the power play units are out, but Rick Bowness then just throws out, the next line that's going to be on for the end of the power play, which is the fourth line, and they actually had a good chance. They actually, this is the most frustrating thing with the Jets, is when the top end players unfortunately just don't show up. The Scheifele line was kind of abysmal tonight, if you ask me. I just did not see anything really working there. It's very tough, especially after such a fantastic game they had the other day. But Mike cutting out. Hello. Hi. Sorry. As I was saying, they had 36. The Scheifele line had 36% expected goals percentage, which means that of all the expected goals that were created, they only created 36% of the expected goals while they were on the ice. Which means they just basically weren't able to create chances. If you're not an advanced stats person, expected goals is basically just chances that are created, and then they're given a value based on the location of the shot, the context of it, basically. But the Jets. The top line unfortunately just was not having it tonight. They didn't have, again, I think a big key is that to that line is their chemistry and passing. And when the Jets' chemistry and passing just isn't working, that line will never work, unfortunately. They're not grinders. They work well when they're able to, cycle the puck well and get shots on, but that was not their game tonight. Conversely, like I said, I thought line 2 had a much better game. Line 3 looked actually really good with both Barron and Menelainen on it, and then also the fourth line, has been fantastic. It's been one of the bright spots of the Jets this year, especially seeing a guy like Mikey Eyssimont coming into the lineup, fighting his way in, and then same thing with Hark. Really good to see those guys, working hard for the Jets. But yeah, just to end off the game, just trying to see here, what else did I have here? Lowry had a decent breakaway chance. With a couple minutes left in the game, Harkins has a dumb cross-checking penalty. This is, again, another issue I have with the Jets. Their discipline has been kind of brutal. They're a team that seems to take a lot of dumb penalties, whether it's PLD, taking his penalties that, negate power plays, and just this one right here where, there's no pressure on Harkins or the guy that he ends up cross-checking. They're both looking at the puck and he just comes in behind and gives him a shot in the back. Again, just dumb, just really, really dumb, really stupid. And again, same thing with this, what's it called? With this game, this was still 9 minutes left. Again, it is 4-0, but you still need to keep working. You have to still keep trying to score. Again, luckily, the part of that penalty or that PK ended up ending because Gustav Nyquist took a really dumb and ugly hit to the head interference call on Josh Morrissey. All I'll say is thank God Josh Morrissey is doing okay. That would have been a gigantic loss to the Jets. And I guess we'll still see in the future if he We'll see if it's an issue for him in the future, but hopefully everything is good and he didn't just play the end with some sort of concussion or anything like that. But he looked okay after. One thing I'll note on that one is, this is a game where there's 5-6 minutes left at this point. And Pionk kind of rushes Nyquist to try and give him some business after the interference there. And this is one where, again, as I know, I'll say what I was saying before with the Harkins dumb penalty. This is the time where I go, okay, you know what? This is when you take a penalty. When someone clobbers one of your most important players to the head, it doesn't matter if it's an accident. You got to get in there and make sure you give him the business. I'll give Pionk credit for rushing from wherever he was to make sure that he got in Nyquist's face, but I would have loved to seen a little bit more than just kind of a scrum and pushing and shoving. I'm not a huge proponent for fighting in the game all the time, but I think that this would have been one of the cases where I would have been totally fine with it and would have been totally I think merited. Make sure that you stick up for your teammates, especially in a game like this. The game is mostly lost at this point. You still gotta you got to do what you can to try and build for the next game, and just doing some sort of action like doing a little bit more than just kind of, rushing to a scrum where everyone kind of just stands around and goes, "Ooh, he hit him. Sorry, ooh," would have been, I think, a lot better for the Jets going forward. But it is what it is. Rick Bowness ends up pulling the goalie with 5:49 left in the game. They end up scoring eventually. As I said before, PLD gets a nice little rebound goal. I think this was on the power play still too, which is nice. Excuse me. But looking at it, this goal was created again, kind of with what I was saying before. It's a pass from Josh Morrissey, who gets it up top, passes it over to Blake Wheeler. Blake Wheeler comes in with a shot. I think Cole Perfetti might have got a small little tip on it because it was really weird the way Korpisalo wasn't able to keep it in his glove. But either way, puck drops over to Dubois, who's mucking it up in front of the net. He just puts it home. Again, nice to see him score against his former team. But again, too little, too late. It is what it is. And then just some funny things to end off the game. Laine has his post shot that ends up going, he tries to hit the empty net and it hits the post. And then one other thing I wanted to comment on, Eric Goodbranson is a criminal. That guy stinks. The amount of times he cross-checked guys in front and got away with it, that was rough. He's just was very annoying to watch, but it is what it is. And then I just got to give credit where credit's due. Blake Wheeler with a kick save, like he's kicking Patrick Laine down to the second line so that he can only play with Scheifele and Kyle Connor. Makes a big kick save on him to stop the hat-trick goal. Again, I would have loved to see Patrick Laine get his get his hat trick in his return to Winnipeg, but it is what it is. I don't think he's kicking himself over that game. At this point, it is what it is. You just got to build for next game. The Jets would get back in action on Sunday against the Anaheim Ducks. And actually, that reminds me, my biggest issue with this game was that this is a team that they should have beaten. I think I mentioned that off the top, but this game really reminded me of the Ducks game where the Jets lost, I think it was it like 1-0 almost, or I think it was a 3-0 game, but then they ended up, letting in some goals. That were the empty netters and also the weird Connor Hellebuck. She tried to pass it back. Regardless. Oh wait, no, never mind. I'm thinking of the Penguins game. No, the Ducks is the game where they lost them maybe they won. I can't remember, but they should have outplayed them and they didn't. Anyways, my recollection's not great. If you have any other comments, feel free to throw them in the chat here. Because we're going to be signing off soon. Again, all in all, a very disappointing game, a really tough way to spend a Friday night, but it is what it is. Regardless, I'm not seeing too much from the chat. I'll give it another second because there's usually a little bit of a delay, But how dare Wheeler deny Laine's hat trick? Yeah, it's tough. It really is tough, and it looked like he had a lot of fun playing against his old squad and kind of ribbing with them. Would have been nice to see Ehlers on the ice against him, see if they could have had a nice little fun brotherly moment. But of course, it is what it is. Anyways, I think it is time to sign off here for Game Over Winnipeg. My name is Brady. Follow me on Twitter at NHL Chunky. Follow at SDPN Sports. Check out the Game Over merch on SDPN's website. Get one with the little Game Over guy for Winnipeg. I've got one coming in the mail. I'm real excited to get it. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Have yourselves a wonderful evening. Enjoy your weekends. Stay safe. And, we'll always see you guys back in the next stream. Again, we'll see you guys on Sunday. Have yourself a good one.
Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.